Welcome back, guys. Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media, and we are back with the Lapeef Experience. Oh, and we need to turn the phone down because it's making too much noise. Speaking of noise, we're trying to make some noise at 600 subscribers this month. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Also, like the video, right? Okay, so we're back with the mixed panel again. The discussion here is screaming 50-50 and equality. Ali says women want the white collar jobs, not the blue collar jobs. Okay, surface level talks from the gender war, most notably the gender pay gap, which is a myth. If you haven't seen the thousands of times it's been debunked. But we're in the middle of this discussion because a lot of it was just, I skipped the first part of it because, again, it was YouTube talking points. We all heard this stuff before. Is that okay? Women don't want to work blue collar jobs, even though they want equality and all that, right? Where we're picking up now is, as a side note, married people on the panel. We have Mistaken, Chaotic Truth is married, Chanel I think is married, and Marcus is married. Let's go ahead and go. We need again more married people making content. That's the goal.
Aren't trying to get women's job, but we're trying to do that with you. I was trying to ask for examples, like what jobs are women going for or careers that
all the blue collar jobs. They're not trying to be plumbers. They're not trying to be trash man. They're not trying to be construction workers. They're not trying to be right. Y'all trying to do all the blue collar jobs that men do, but you don't want those other jobs. Is my point. Y'all want the good jobs, the ones that they're good to. You don't want all the men positions. Excuse me, white collar. Excuse me. I meant to say white collar. Y'all don't want the hard positions that we do. You just want the easy ones.
We want to use this, not this.
No. But y'all, no. But this is what I'm saying. Okay, chaotic. That's why there's things I disagree with chaotic. There's a lot of things I do agree with chaotic. If y'all are screaming for 50-50 and equality,
who's screaming for it? Who?
So let me say this, because this is my input on this is totally different. Okay, and then we can go into that because I do think that conversation.
Okay, so he's talking about in general, and she's talking about on the panel. In general, there are a lot of women, particularly younger generation, who want 50-50. They want equality. It's starting to seem like that's a phase. Like women grow out of that the older they get, and the more they realize that, oh, you know what? This ain't it. It's not the move. It could go either way. I mean, only thing I can tell you is that get to know the person you're going to marry, because that makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. Or, the other thing is that if you've got a plan for your life, which you should have, you should definitely want to be with somebody who's going to add value to your life and make things easier for you. Now, I don't make any bones. Let's save that for later. Let's go ahead.
What is feminism? Okay, well, go ahead, Sharon.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sharon.
So I have a different take, and I'm not saying mistaken is wrong because that's some women's thinking. All I can do is say it with mine. I do think that some people. Have you ever heard that saying? A woman will treat you how she wants you to treat her, but then turn around and treat you the way she treat, you know that saying? It doesn't matter because it's not even relevant, right? It's just the point. What I'm trying to say
what was the point of saying it?
That women put themselves in positions to say, okay, I want this out of my guy. I don't necessarily want to do it all my life, but I want to be in this class because these are the class of guys that I want. I want access to these types of men.
That goes back to what they were talking about before, about the part I skipped, about, women having their strengths, and those strengths are different than the ones that men have. That's why I skipped that, because it was literally just them going back and forth, and that was all they were saying. So, yeah, she's saying it again, so. All right.
And I want to make sure I fit in that group, because I don't know many women who just like, we were talking about this before the show. Who wants to work as a woman for a long period? You just don't. But do you want that same class do you want to be in that same class? Do you want to drop? Those are the things that I think that women think of. I don't think that women, I'm about to get this job over this guy. I want to be the CEO. Some women. But for the vast majority, we're not trying to be the CEO of a company. We just want you to take that hustle we got and put it in you, and you head it, and you go and do something with it. And so my
You see, Ali, the face he's making, that's because it's a YouTube talking point. The younger the women are, and this is, I seriously think this is a phase that women go through. Well, most women today, but it's usually around like their early 20s. These are the women who you keep talking, who constantly talking about, I'm getting to the bag, I'm making all this money, and I'm doing all this stuff. But I told y'all before, somebody lying, because in my state of Georgia, the average income for women is $25,000. So all that talk, I swear it's a phase. I swear, because it goes right out the window. They would rather by the time they get closer to 30, most of them would like to be with a man who is doing that.
My question is, if men are natural at achievement, like this is what they were born to do, then wouldn't it be that they are naturally going to be more successful than women? Because it's natural for them. It's not natural for us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's
but
a
that's
question.
Right. That word in itself is a social construct, though. But it just really doesn't mean anything. But go ahead, Chaotic.
Shan, that's a very good question that you've asked. All things in the universe, at least from my primitive ape mind understanding, go through or will go through. I think I'm using the word wrong, but atrophy or a decay. Yes, you would think that with men being physically superior, mentally superior, that most men, if not all men on the planet, would.
See, I've seen Chaotic on the panels before, and he can introduce some high level conversations. A lot of the times he does it through trolling. See how I slipped that in there? Is it men are mentally superior? It makes you instantly want to take it to. That's what I call lighting the fuse and then running away, throwing the match on the fire and then running away. Because, dude, men aren't mentally superior. Because when you think mentally, you instantly think intelligent. But the reality is that there are studies to show this. Because again, the easiest one I can reference is what Jordan Peterson talks about, is that men and women are equal in intelligence. So the scores come out different, but when you look at it as a whole, yeah, we're not smarter. One gender is not smarter than the other one. But again, with Chaotic, you have to pay attention to what he says, because he literally just slid that in there. No one's going to say anything because they're waiting for him to make a point. And he does this a lot, where he'll build up what he's trying to say, and it's a lot of he'll lay out a lot of generalized statements to get to a point, which is it's an intelligent way to propose an argument. Don't get me wrong, this brother can debate, but sometimes it's just like, okay, really, you just get that moment like, really, that's what you're gonna say. And sometimes I get the idea, or it gives the impression, that he is purposely trying to anger people so that they don't put up as good of an argument. Because in a debate, the first one that gets mad loses. So, it's just something that I've noticed. I've seen him on panels before, and it's like, yeah.
Would be successful. But a lot of the times men become lazy. We become lazy because of vices, drinking, smoking weed, masturbating to porn. See, these vices
he's right.
keep men behind. If men worked on one thing, I believe that we would be going to different star systems by now. So this term, the lazy, shiftless Negro, comes from somewhere. And I believe somewhere in the ancient past, particularly with people of African descent, we became lazy. Maybe it was due to the weather, an abundant.
You see what I mean? He's just all over the place with like generalized statements. Nobody was talking about any of that stuff. And we kind of and everybody's just sitting here, look. Everybody's just got like glazed look on her face. Shan is about to say something, I think. let's see what happens, because he hadn't said anything yet.
For food in Africa, I have no idea. But I guarantee you, a man or men will be successful if we just do that one thing, focused on ourselves. See, a lot of men focus on coochie. Go to different barbershops, it's all they talk about, coochie. Man, I want to go on.
He said all that to say that. This is what I mean. It's like literally you. Okay. I mean, it's a debate tactic and it works because he's very polarizing. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, we're having a conversation about this. We're finally peeling back the layers. And then here we go in a different direction with something that's not related or it doesn't appear to be related. And we got to listen to you, wait till you get to the point.
On to the club and give me some coach. You see, you know, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Negro, you got 5 kids. You got 5 kids. You're not cutting my hair. You're wasting time and you're talking about coochie. How old are you? 15? You're 31 years old and your mind is still stuck on nonsense. So to answer your question, the white man isn't holding us back. There is no oppression. It is our vices. And I gotta blame a lot of black men for the regression of our people. You smoke too much weed, you drink too much liquor, you listen to too much rap, and you try to get too.
I'm gonna assume that this was just maybe just a bad editing. Like the clip is wrong because they weren't talking anything. There was no mention of that stuff. That's not what we were talking about. Like the title talks about 50-50 and equality. And he's sitting there talking about lazy men. What does that have to do with? Look, at the end of the day, I still stand by what I said before. Guys, I'm never going to shame you for the type of marriage that you have because we don't have enough of them in our community. We're not there yet, right? So what I will say to you is that you need to have a plan for your life. You need to sit down, you know, as far as finances go. That's a big picture when it comes to women. That is a major attraction point. It's not that you don't have to have money, but you do need to have a plan for your life so that they're not as concerned about it. You know, and the better the plan you have, the honestly, the higher quality woman you can attract. Seriously, most women are willing to work with you if there's a plan in place that they can see and follow. Because again, that's what they want from a leader, right? So what I would say is that you need to get your plan together as far as what you want to do with your life, and you need to select a woman who is going to add value to that plan. Now, her coming in adding value does mean that she should get a say-so in how things are going with the plan. But at the end of the day, all you're looking from her for is advisement. You're not looking for her to make major changes in it, unless she presents an opportunity. But that's most relationships where the guy is the leader. Now, if you're looking for a woman to lead, I don't know much about those marriages. All I can tell you is that most of them end in divorce. I mean, but if you're willing to stick it out, if you find a woman who is willing to stick it out with you, then I say go ahead and, you know, try and figure out some examples or try and, you know, watch as many videos or read on them as much as you can, because there's just not a lot of information out there about those. And most men are not looking for those type of situations. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I do agree with Chaotic at one point. Men do need to focus. And I always say this, you know, you should focus on the dime. Discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. Developing those 4 categories, it will help you put things in order for you. A lot of times it'll actually, if you're struggling coming up with the plan, take some time to yourself and focus on those things. Don't take too long, but, you know, focus on things that you can do to develop those. We talked about in that other video. Well, he made some great recommendations for that. You know, cut down on the alcohol, if not cutting it out altogether, because I don't drink, I don't smoke either. So, but those are 2 big distractions that I see as far as men and helping to develop your careers. If you always planning to go out on the weekends, most men, you can't afford to go out on the weekends. Talking about going to a club, what you need to do is be figuring out how you're going to make how you're going to get to 50 plus hours a week. And a lot of times that involves getting a weekend part-time job, which means that you're not going to the club. Sorry, but that's what you're going to have to do as a guy. Yeah, it is what it is. But this great high-level conversation, because we got to peel back some layers here as far as we got this. I'm seriously thinking this is just part of the conversation. We're gonna have to come back and revisit this because I think there's more here, and I think we missed something. We may need to go back and watch the video before this one, just to see what, because this is an interesting topic. Is that, you know, how you're going to develop your career path? Because again, the high level conversation part came in as we've identified that there are a small group of women who, you know, they want those high level jobs, but as Shan Monet, she intelligently brought up that a lot of women are not like that. Personally, I think it's a phase, you know, but only time will tell. Speaking of time, I'm gonna say goes to the next time. Peace.